magic. It's automatic. Got a mask. Who was that? Living legend. Lethal weapon. Mastermind. Never tried. Tell them all.
Welcome to the next part of the German Nationals interview series. I'm your host Simon, and I'm very happy to have today here Lynn. Lynn, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lynn. I'm 19 and live near Hamburg. I play CDH since maybe like March last year. Somewhere around that. My first tournament was the Demonic Battlegrounds in Berlin, which was very fun. Like that was when I started playing tournament CDH. I played some fringe, more big, high power-esque decks and Magic before that.
That's actually how we met, if you remember, on a fringe tournament. It was funny. So, what is the commander you're playing?
I'm playing Thras Vial Smasher, 4 color, everything but white, and just a soup of good cards.
Why are you playing them?
I think it's mainly because you can do all the Grixis turbo stuff of, oh, I have a Necropotence, I have my Ethnos or whatever, or my Weedlines. All that works, and I feel quite comfortable with like keeping and playing mana dogs because it's always fun for longer games. Like turn 1 play mana dog, turn 2 play another land, play Rhystic Study. Feels great to play. Because yet permanent mana works much better.
If your commander pairing would get banned today or tomorrow, what would your next choice be?
So the deck that got me into CDH is Sahili the Sun's Brilliance, which is a bit of a fringe. It's a deck that doesn't really do anything without Dockside in the game. So I recently rebuilt it, but I'm not confident I will play that. I will probably try around some top decks, maybe go to Krax Vasios, which was a deck I played in my first tournaments, and then maybe try Kinnan and probably just stick to some random 5-color commander, probably High Forest Guardian, which is a bear that puts shrines on the battlefield that hopefully draw more than less cards. Yeah.
What is your biggest CEDH hot take?
I for sure see this more as top card tables, that people are like, especially mid-range decks, are aiming to keep every person in the game in a way. So like, blah, if you counter this, I'm like out of the game, so maybe do this or that or whatever, or like, I mostly see this with Politing or a Culling Witch. Like if I cast a Culling Witcher, the person who's very much blown up by the Culling Witcher might go stuff like, okay, counter this, and then I only do this or that on my turn. And I think in those situations it's, in my opinion, more correct to just say, okay, we're playing with one player less now, basically, because they're pretty much dead, and to just restrict what the other person with the Culling Witch does or whatever. So choosing the option that basically eliminates one player is what I would like to see more in those situations.
What is, in your opinion, the most overplayed commander?
I think it's TNK. Obviously, it's the most played deck in the format. Yeah, but I love playing green cards and Birds of Paradise, so I obviously have to say that I don't vibe with TNK, and I don't think it does that much more than other decks that like have green or whatever. I also don't like Obnixilis, but that's a different story.
What is, in your opinion, the biggest player mistake that you especially see in new players?
What I've seen recently a lot more is like sitting at a table and the threat assessment just being someone saying, oh, this deck is a turbo deck, while their deck contains mostly the same cards and they just have double the amount of mana and cards. So I think it's definitely some kind of threat assessment issue and basically blindly believing whatever the first guy says who tries to talk to them.
Which card is secretly way stronger than people evaluated?
I think it's training guns. Like, obviously, you have to advocate for training guns here a little because it's not that commonly played in every Thras deck, as most of them are way more turbo focused. I play a lot of bar interactions in most of the lists I see online, which is also American lists, so they like, do different stuff. And I don't know, I feel quite happy with playing training grounds. I also sometimes would rather have a training grounds than like a Rhystic, but it's really niche for like games where people are likely to starve my Rhystic, or there's a Kinnan in the pot and I don't want them to like copy my Rhystic twice and then I lose the game. Yeah, I think it's quite underrated to just play training grounds, even though the deck is not focused on making cradle mana and boom 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 or whatever, and just as a draw engine.
What are the top 3 cards that you love to see in your starting hand separately from each other, so not like Dark Ritual plus Necropotence?
Definitely Birds of Paradise. It's the best dog, obviously because it's X-Murok mana, but also because you can like get some Floodcaller interaction later on. The other one is probably some kind of counter spell. I wouldn't say Mental Misstep. Maybe it's just Fierce Guardianship. And then I think the third one is Mystic Horror. Probably Mystic more than Mystic Study, if I have to say.
So, how would you describe the meta at the moment?
It's definitely very turbo heavy. Like, I'm aware that my decks doesn't exactly resolve the issue or like play differently. In a way, it's just walk side with green. But yeah, I think I see a lot of like turbo decks, and I feel that's why I said earlier that I feel I'm way more comfortable having a fish than a Mystic Study. But I also tend to see more like creatures decks like Tyam or Magda, which is obviously caused by the turbo decks. So yeah, I think it's that, and still a lot of TNK and Kinnan, but way more Kinnan than TNK in a way, or maybe it's just more memorable to me.
So what are the most important learnings that make you a better player?
I think it's definitely just talking to people more, like just being not that open about information, but also like just start talking to people what you can do on a spell or something, what you basically want to avoid happening if you use your interaction or something, and like trying to find a solution there. It's also keeping a hand that's not just generally good but dependent on the pot. Like if Roxa is in the seat before me, sure, I can keep my turn to an Echo and then die, but it's way better to just have a plan from the beginning and like kind of with more games an idea how the game might evolve and what cards can help and lead to a win there, and yeah.
What, in your opinion, should be banned or unbanned?
I'm not sure if I want a Rhystic Study ban. Like, I keep thinking about it, and I'm not that much of a fan of like the really big stack battle thingies, because it's in a way just for people trying to priority bully each other, and I don't quite enjoy those. I also don't enjoy like the really low resource games where nobody has a draw engine and everybody's just like, ooh, who top decks to win first or something. So I think I'd like Rhystic banned and just see where it goes. But I'm not too sure if I still enjoy the format as much, because it's in a way without Rhystic just a different format, and I don't enjoy playing high power, so maybe it would be too close to hype for my liking. I definitely want Jewel Lotus unbanned. I think the card is quite fun. I think commander-centric decks are cool, and like I want commander-centric decks in the format.
So what are some of the more interesting playing situations that you had in the last few weeks or month?
I had an interesting decision point in a game against Tyam, TNK and Joyra, Joyous ingenuity counters to mana Joyer. I kept 4, which is 2 lands, an Imperial Seal, and a Rhystic Study. And I do crop rotation for turn 1. And the decision point is basically, do I still Imperial Seal for Soaring on my turn 1 to have better mana, better colored mana, and potentially have crop rotation for Talon Gates as an interaction point in the later stages. Or just what I did, I'm not sure if it was correct, Imp Seal for Culling Ritual on a turn 1 and just play turn 2 second land, crop rotation for Ancient Tomb and play my Rhystic that way. I think I'm basically most scared of Tyam in that part because he's also first in Swiss, so probably doing quite well. And I wanted an early Culling Wit to not have to worry about that, because in that situation I can't put a win on his deck faster than he does his stuff. Yeah, basically decision point is like whether have better mana and Corporate still in hand, or a Culling Wit in hand and hopes and dreams of drawing a colored mana source like a land or whatever for your turn 3 Culling Ritual.
What did you decide to do?
Yeah, I did the Culling Wit thing, and I do a land, but it was Gemstone Caverns, and I game evolved a bit differently. I had my Culling Wit the last turn, I made a deal with Tyam that he wouldn't activate more unless someone pushes, and he saw my Culling Wit as a push and tried to win into arm. It was a whole thing, but basically the gamble didn't turn out great because I didn't draw the good land I needed for my Culling Ritual, so I just passed the turn without taking any game actions, because my land of choice I kept was also Bayou, and all my cards in hand were blue.
Well, I hope that next time you will have the situation, you will have more luck. Maybe it will be at the Nationals, and I would love to see you there. Good luck, and thanks for being part of the interview.